Hey traders, this is Risk going over the trade journal. Sorry I haven't had the time to put together the other ones. Been really busy recently. But I just want to show you, you've been noticing that I've been doing a lot of trades on the ES. And so I wanted to sort of use my trading strategy that I tend to use a lot in the euro dollar, waiting for some of these setups can take a while, like looking at the hour chart. Anyway, as we can see, we were in an uptrend for recently, at least on the time frame that I'm concerned of. There was a FOMC meeting that got people kind of excited about that. So anyway, regardless, we're in an uptrend, and the first trade that I took, sort of waiting for this to piddle around, and I can sort of make it a little prettier to see, was just take this is these are Bollinger Bands, but don't take them as levels that you trade off of. Essentially what a Bollinger Band is you have a moving average. I think it's I have mine set at I want to say 20, but then I have the band set on 60 for mathematical reasons. But anyway, the point is that basically these are Bollinger Bands for a higher time frame plastered upon a smaller time frame. Whatever, it doesn't matter. In the end, if you just have a basic moving average, that'll be fine. But Bollinger Bands, the outsides, are essentially like a stochastics indicator. You can do about the same thing with them. Like they're basically a momentum or oversold, overbought regions. So once it gets to the up, it's oversold. That does not mean that it's not going to push higher. It's just something to consideration that mathematically you're on the extremes of the price action in the past. Here I have 60 candles. Alright, so with that in mind, I have like this midpoint here. That's sort of my, okay, if we're in a strong trend, then that's where I want to buy if I got a good candle, right? And then here's like, well, if I want to buy and we have a great candle or something like that. So I did take this trade here. I did take 20 points off of this. Sort of a sit and forget. I couldn't get any of these though. I'm not gonna short the strength like that. That's too. Maybe if the candles were rounder and better, it becomes sort of a subjective game. And normally I don't take a long here too far away, but you have to sort of imagine that this 20 MA is a lagging indicator, and so you have to sort of be judgmental. There's an amount of subjectiveness to it. I did have good candles going down and a nice doji, so at that point I was like, well, it's already a strong move. It's pulling away from the 20 MA. That just means that it's stronger. If this was like a piddling down into the middle, I wouldn't have taken it. Like, see this? See how it like, okay, doji, doji, that's not, you don't want to take these. It didn't like tell you that it was a nice sell-off and then rebound, I did take these though. Maybe I jumped it because it did follow this sort of chop a bit. I thought it had a good pulse down. I did get stopped. I actually got to the target, but like I put this one for 10 points, but it just wasn't. It just, it didn't get the fill essentially. I did get a partial fill here on some of my contracts for 10 points. I was trying to hope for go for 20 points. And then I was getting pretty exhausted when I took this one. It's hard to tell. That is a doji right there if you look closely. But again, a nice smooth pulse down, better than this pulse down, and then on to extreme. Again, we're still in a, we're still in a uptrend. You can see that from the bands and all that. So I still felt pretty good about taking this, and you can combine this with price action, but it does get to a point where you can like imagine price action anywhere. We got this dip here, which could be dip here, and if you just draw like supports everywhere, it would be about the same. But you did have sort of this confirmed support, some might say. It doesn't really matter too much. Now keep in mind, once you get down, as price gets close to Bollinger Bands, it does push them down. So these aren't exactly levels. Again, I should reiterate that these aren't like oh, the price gets here and you tick and you sell. You know, it doesn't quite work that way in reality. All right. And then I did try to take this short. For me, I felt like, well, you know, I did go against the trend. That may have been my downfall, but we had this sort of maybe potential fail low and could have been a head and shoulders right here. You know, you have a lower high, a little higher, and then maybe this. So I thought that might have been a good potential. But I felt like this was still a good short because, you know, we was at the extreme and the market was either going to go down or grow up really powerfully, I felt, and it went up very powerfully. You know, if it just like went up, stopped me out, and then went back down a bit, I felt like that would have been a bad trade, you know, but I felt like it did, you know, it's just I rolled the dice with the edge in my favor and ultimately did not pan out for me. And that's ultimately what trading is. It's just an odds game. All right. So I've been trying to figure out how I want to approach the Forex market on a longer time frame. You know, like have one brokerage set up for longer sort of time frames and another one set up for shorter scalping, which I enjoy. It fits more my motif. But I haven't quite found what I like because I like price flow. As you can probably tell, I like to look at the price, look at the price action, and trying to figure out how it's moving. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, some losses, some partial wins, and some wins. Overall, a positive day. I did not take this trade. This is definitely was not awake, but as you can see, during like this time, it might be a little slower. But with the tick charts, you can see you just have to put it in perspective. Like look at the candles, and you know, tell yourself, is it moving smoothly? A very nice smooth down to a doji near a quote-unquote over sold region. That's a pretty decent buy-in. Here is not so good, though you know it works out to an extent, but you know it just some indecisiveness on the move. You know, there's a big difference between a nice sell-off correction versus the market is digesting information, and digesting is where you can get whipped out, and that's what you don't want to trade in.